to think that the schools of magic, and really magic as a whole, has sort of a color scale, where you have more destructive magics that exist more in the black magic side of things, and then you have these healing magics, protective magics that exist over in the white magic sort of scale. And I think I just kind of grew up with that in Final Fantasy. And I think the Abjuration School of Magic for Wizard is, of all the different wizard options, because we haven't gotten the Theurge yet, but of all the different wizard options, I think that the Abjuration Wizard is so far over into that white magic side of things, and it's great because we really need a support option like that for the signature spellcaster of Dungeons & Dragons. This is a spell school that I think for whatever reason I don't really hear a lot of people talk about, and it's something that I personally feel like I just sort of glazed over in my first few years of checking out D&D 5e. It wasn't until one of my viewers told me about the strength of this school that I really started to take a look at it, and I was like, this is scary. What this can do is absolutely terrifying, and I'll tell you guys about one particular synergy in this that makes me really think that Abjuration Wizard is going to be the sleeper subclass of D&D 5e. So yeah, let's go over into D&D Beyond and take a look at the Abjuration Wizard. The School of Abjuration emphasizes magic that blocks, banishes, or protects. Detractors of the school say that its tradition is about denial, negation, rather than positive assertion. You understand, however, that ending harmful effects, protecting the weak, and banishing evil influences is anything but a philosophical void. It is a proud and respected vocation. Called abjurers, members of the school are sought when baleful spirits require exorcism, when important locations must be guarded against magical spying, and when portals to other planes of existence must be closed. So, Abjuration Savant. Mark, this one is green. Most of the savants, I honestly feel, are for the most part, a ribbon. It is enhancing your spellbook feature, which, it's cool. But for Abjuration Savant, I do feel like this is actually a little bit more impactful than some of the other Savant options, just because of the spells that we're talking about, being on this school of magic. Blade Ward, Absorb Elements, Mage Armor, Protection from Evil and Good, Shield. Shield is quite possibly one of the best uses of your reaction if you're not using that reaction to counterspell. Counterspell being on here should be enough of a big flag where it's we already know the power of what this spell can do. And Counterspell is just going to get even better by the result of another feature that the Abjuration Wizard is going to get. Dispel Magic, Glyph of Warding is on here. Protection from Energy, Remove Curse, Banishment, Stone Skin, Mind Blank, and then later on, Invulnerability. For a duration, this is a 9th level spell. One action casting time, and for 10 minutes, requiring your concentration, you are immune to all damage until the spell ends. Your DM is going to have to get creative here to figure out how to break your concentration, because this is basically only saying that the only thing that you can't do, the only thing that's going to break your concentration on this spell, is you casting another concentration spell. That's a cool story choice too, You are immune to all damage. But there might be another spell that in that moment is a little bit better, but you're going to have to break your own bubble to make that happen. I think that's a really cool narrative there. So Arcane Ward, this is the one feature that I took a look at, and I was mostly okay, that's cool, but what all can it do? And then one of my viewers told me about the power of this feature, and it made me completely reevaluate what I think about the Wizard Abjuration subclass. So, starting at 2nd level, you can weave magic around yourself for protection. When you cast an abjuration spell at 1st level or higher, you can simultaneously use a strand of the spell's magic to create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. The ward has a hit point maximum equal to twice your wizard level, plus your intelligence modifier. Whenever you take damage, the ward takes damage instead. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, you take any remaining damage. While the ward has 0 hit points, it can't absorb damage, but its magic remains. Whenever you cast an abjuration spell at 1st level or higher, the ward regains the number of hit points equal to twice the level of the spell. Once you create the ward, you can't create it again until you finish a long rest. The spell, to me, that sends this completely over the top and is such a beautiful pairing with the Abjuration Wizard. Armor of Agathis. I have told you guys on my channel constantly, this is one of my favorite spells in the game. I think that Armor of Agathis is so scary, scary good for the potential that it brings. Because Armor of Agathis, Wizards of the Coast knew that they could really only give this out for, like, in the base spell list, 2 classes that only got up to 5th level spells because of just how well this spell scales. You think about it like this. Armor of Agathis. Whenever you first get it, you have 5 temporary hit points. If something hits you with a melee attack, that creature takes 5 cold damage. That's a great effect. Imagine what that does when it scales up. Because, like, think about that as a 5th level spell. You have 25 temporary hit points. Whenever something hits you, it takes 25 cold damage. Not everything is able to dish out that cap of 25 damage every single turn, or every single melee attack it deals. You know, this is really devastating against creatures that have multi-attack, because they're not going to be able to really hit you right off the bat. Like, I think even Owlbear is going to have a hard time ensuring that with one attack you're going to take 25 damage without it taking 50 damage from trying to attack you twice. It's just not always worth it for that creature to try and keep attacking you while this spell scales up. So how can Wizard get this? We're talking Mage Initiate. This is a 1st level spell that you can go in and snag this from the Warlock spell list. And then, or you could just multi-class Warlock. It would be worth it to me. I would say, for the Wizard, to multi-class just 1 level into Warlock and snag Armor of Agathis, because of what this can do for Abjuration Wizard. This is an Abjuration spell. On top of you casting this, you're also going to get the 2 hit points per level of the spell. Or, sorry, 2 hit points onto your Arcane Ward per level of the spell. And notice the text. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while you have these hit points, the creature takes 5 cold damage. The trigger for that makes it to where your Arcane Ward would take the damage on top of... the Arcane Ward would take the damage instead of the temporary hit points for Armor of Agathis. This is such a crazy, amazing pairing, and if you're able to cast this at spells higher than... spells with a spell slot higher than 5th level, Armor of Agathis gets to be one of the scariest spells in D&D 5e. That's why this spell is so, so scary damn good. I really love this Reddit post. Please help me understand why Armor of Agathis is worth learning. Chunkosaurus Rex. Projected Ward, I've given this one purple. Well, part of this comes from the fact that Abjuration Wizard now has so many things that they can do with their reaction. It has become insanely, insanely versatile for them. Starting at 6th level, whenever a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to cause your Arcane Ward to absorb that damage. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, the warded creature takes any remaining damage. It's just more flexible things that you can do with your Arcane Ward, and sure, it is taking up the same action economy as Shield and Counterspell, which, like, it could be argued that that is something of a detriment to this, but I can't help but think that this is just a direct enhancement to Arcane Ward. It's more things that you can do with your reaction, because you're not always going to want to use Shield, you're not always going to want to use Counterspell, but, like, being able to use your reaction to prevent another creature from taking damage, this is a great effect. Improved Abjuration. So I had initially said in one of my videos that Lore Bard is the best counterspeller in the game, and I was wrong. I was super wrong on that. Abjuration Wizard is the best counterspeller in the game. Beginning at 10th level, when you cast an Abjuration spell that requires you to make an ability check as part of casting that spell, as in Counterspell and Dispel Magic, you add your proficiency bonus to that ability check. This is just, it's objectively better. Straight up by mathematics, this is better than what you can do with Bard picking up Counterspell. So Abjuration Wizard is the best counterspeller in the game. Taron was wrong. Spell resistance, starting at 14th level. You have advantage on saving throws against spells. Furthermore, you have resistance to the damage of spells. So, can you see why School of Abjuration, I don't hear people really talking about this in the same breath that they'll talk about divination, transmutation, or necromancy. This School of Magic, I think, is the big sleeper hit of D&D 5e. It's one of those things that, like, you look at it, and I think a lot of people are just looking at what kind of damage they can dish out. The School of Abjuration especially if you figure out a way to snag Armor of Agathis. This is such a scary school of magic. One of my favorite support options in D&D 5e. This is absolutely, for me, an S tier class. I love this. Go check out School of Abjuration. I'm not kidding. I love this subclass. Oh yeah, let me just announce the colors real quick of everything that I've given it. So Abjuration Savant, I've given green. I think that this one is mostly a ribbon, but it's a little bit more impactful than a ribbon. Because your spellbook is so key to the wizard, this is going to be a great and easier way for you to get access to more powerful spells. So Abjuration Savant, I've given it green, but I think it's more likely possibly blue. Arcane Ward, I've given purple. Absolutely, this is... You could argue that this could go towards gray if you look at it in combination with Armor of Agathis. I would honestly say that if Wizard got access to Armor of Agathis just through their spell list, Arcane Ward would be gray. Projected Ward, because it's a direct enhancement to Arcane Ward, because it's just more stuff you can do with your reaction whenever you're not able to use Counterspell or Shield, I've given this one purple. Improved Abjuration, again, I've given this one purple. This makes them the best counterspeller in D&D 5e. And then Spell Resistance. Its advantage on saving throws against spells and resistance to the damage of spells. Of course this one is purple. It's insanely good. Yeah, School of Abjuration, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. In case you guys haven't heard from the 50 million announcements I've been doing, Legends of Frozenfar is out on the DN's Guild. We just hit Copper Bestseller in less than 48 hours, so thank you guys for your support. It's been mind-blowing seeing this thing just go nuts over there. But yeah, Legends of Frozenfar, go check it out. I also did a live stream with AJ Pickup where we were talking about Frozenfar, so I'm going to link that down in the description below. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Do all the YouTube things. I hope that you all are staying safe, staying healthy, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.